Okay, let's start the class. Today we will talk about, in these sections, we will talk about uh, innovation. And on the other sections, we will talk about entrepreneurship. So the innovation, we'll go through step by steps on the slides. So it's not much of a hurry. Innovations and entrepreneurship highly intertwined, and one without the others, the functional utilities will not be uh, revealed to the extent level. So innovations, competencies, innovation strategy, entrepreneurial competency, and entrepreneurial opportunity exploitations are very, very important. And one of the definition and understanding on innovation is that we have to utilize the concepts of creation. So innovations really is the invention that is put into commercialized or market usage. So it is a commercial exploitations and utilization uh, of the inventions at the operational level. So it could, when we talk about commercializations, it means that we are able to convince the recipients to invest the monies on it. So which is the investment paradigms of innovations. Therefore, is probably a more fundamental concept than just the pure exploitations at the commercializations level. Because sometimes when we talk about commercializations, we are talking about selling and convincing people. But then if we talk about investments, then we know that there is certain long-term orientations and certain additional concepts like leveraging of your assets and how do you utilize your means of getting the funds for your investments, and so which is a very good paradigmatic issues in innovation. An innovation introduces an invention, right? And we use that inventions and push it to the utilization purpose level. So inventions could be a product, could be a process, could be administrations, could be a systems or a platform that interlinks everybody together so that everybody can work together in a more efficient and effective manner, and in terms realizes the company's uh, profits or innovative ideas and things like that. So an innovation introduces inventions, which again, for these cases, it is something that we can market it, so it's a product and a process to the market. So so to the market, it's innovation in a narrow sense, right? You could innovate to the communities. You could innovate for internal usage that speed up your innovation processes, and so on and so forth. So to the market is innovation. Really speaking, it's innovation in a narrow sense. And when we talk about innovation, it's very important that we learn how to manage it. So innovation management becomes very, very important. Here it talks about the goal-oriented seeking and shaping of innovation activities. So management, it's about when we manage things, we are really talking about a set of activities in an organized way, and that organized way provides the efficient flow of knowledge, which allow us to interact and generate the new ideas and new informations and new knowledge and things like that. And so it is a very goal-oriented, looking for certain marketable product and services, and the processes should be not just a set of of processes that we just follow, but it is a set of processes that that is goal oriented and has that innovation and invention purposes and commercialization of it, of course. Within a company, require structures and coordinated activities, again, as I say, organized. So the set of activities that managing the processes for innovative purposes are really structures, and we need different functions to coordinate and get it done, such as from the production departments, from the marketing departments, from even the external partners such as universities that exchanges or give share with us some higher levels of fundamental research. So aim at innovations, successful introductions on the market or for the company's internal use, right? So you can either innovate something for the market, or you can use it internally, such as for processes of production, that processes and that productions or that competencies becomes your core competencies. And so innovations turning into a core competencies of your organizations that you can utilize to repetitively generate more and more products and to more and more markets, and so so that is very significant innovation, which is really creating a repeatable routine routine set of the activities or competencies that you can continue to invest on it and spend on it and generate a lot of market values. And they comprise a set of strategic and operational tasks. Okay, so again, as I told you, that innovation is for a purpose, and that purpose is to for long term, such as to be a leaders in certain areas in the market. And so there is certain strategic issue, and for example, the competencies, which or the ability to get your administrative work faster, or your production processes and things like that by use of artificial intelligence, robotics, or maybe the way you design your products are utilizing the artificial intelligence neural networks simulation. So there is this cross-functional issues between the engineering and the marketing, things like that. So there are a lot of strategic and operational tasks, and you need to organize them for the planning and controls of that innovations processes. The following tasks are among the core tasks of innovations management. So there are a lot of issues, but I think if we want to manage it from the management perspective, we need to have structures of the working space, working concepts, and that gives. I mean, things are very complicated and complex. For example, it is very complicated and very complex as far as innovation process is concerned. But if we can define within a structural scope, boundary, conceptual boundary, cognitive schematized boundary, then it really reduces the complexities. And going through that working within that cognitive structures, it allows us to get a speedy return in the processes to generate the outcomes faster, and that is the important task of why we always need to define certain scopes of the structures. And so the important task of innovations management involved organization, which is the way you manage your organizations that is inducive to innovation. So we're talking about so many things. It could be your management systems, it could be your e-platforms or the intranet and things like that that can, or the policies or whatever, or the coordination, the structures uh, that allow your companies to uh, effectively and efficiently operate on innovation processes. So, okay, so these are very important. And so these processes, the core within that middle, but it is confined within the organizations and the culture. And the culture has to be innovation friendly. So within that innovation friendly cultures, everybody gets less stressful in activities relating to innovations, because innovation really is risky, more risky, and well, actually the process, the purpose of innovation is to help us reduce the uncertainty, and so that we get better and get more information about certain thing that is going to work, and that is what innovation is for. It's really to reduce the uncertainties of the of what we're doing, such as, for instance, in a product. And if we can reduce the uncertainty of a product, then for sure, the less the more uncertainties it gets reduced, the more convincing that our innovative products will be accepted in the market, and that is quite a challenging task, because it talks about not only the product attributes but also the diffusion. So there are, and also the marketing support, right? There, when we talk about diffusion, triability is one of the important attributes in diffusion, to accelerate that diffusion. So if you get the customers to try, so there is a lot of the informations and a lot of details out there, and it's not a straightforward manner. And supported by and enabled by the organization, um, inducive to the innovation plus the cultures, then the process of innovations will be accelerated and work smoothly. And that is in the middle part, and we're talking about planning, innovation strategy. So you really need to get to the details about your innovation strategy, what exactly you want to do in your innovation, things like that, process innovations or even market innovation. And then you, once you identify the portfolios or things that you want to do, then you will be getting into the next process, which is the management innovations processes, which is a series of the product uh, process innovation processes, such as the things that you need to do. Is, after that, passing to a gate for evaluation, and then to the next steps or activities, and so on and so forth. And the information system supporting all these processes. So this is a very important issue. And next, we're going to briefly touch on the types of innovations. Again, based on the degree of novelty, and we know that innovation is focusing also on the novelty and something new. So we're talking about newness, something that that is old. We get used to it. There is not much stimulation. So innovation, we want to stimulate the interest for people to uh, use it. Okay, and for our internal employees to use it, because it helps us to do our jobs better, so, or for the customers to use it to because it gives them a better control and fulfillment in their life. And so, based on the degree of novelty, innovation could be on a radical sense, or could be on a incremental, step-by-step sense. Okay, so that means that we could have the step-by-step, incremental innovation, which is really uh, um, improvement of processes, and similar to the concepts and paradigms of plan, do, check, act, PDCA. But then in radical innovation, you are looking into certain perspective of the innovations. It could be technologies, it could be the way we do things in a totally in a different way, and that is radicalities in that sense. Uh, for example, and sometimes to some extent, the radical innovations could lead us to disruptive. It could disrupt the whole market. For example, we used to ride on the horse, and then the cars, automobile disrupt the market, and we into the car. And now we are getting into the next disruptions on the even on the electronics and electrical based automobiles and things like that. So this is things that can disrupt and your life and the way you manage and do things. So let's look at the dimensions of the degree of this innovation novelties, and you can see that from this graph that we have four very important dimensions that a successful innovations management processes should focus upon, and the novelties should be stressed. And one of them is, as we have already explained, which is the organization, and the technology is very important. And for example, the artificial intelligence technologies and the robotic technologies, and the DNA technologies and things like that, or they have tremendous power, the abilities to help us innovate. Embed the technologies for innovation, or to drive innovations, or the technologies be counted and bring to the platform. And the next one is again the market acceptabilities, and the market, even market itself, the way we go into the market could be innovation, and innovation environment is very, very important. Any things that when we talk about big skills of transformation, or big skills of change, innovation is needs a good change. And Lewine's change models tell us that if we want to change, if in a acceptable, speedy and efficient manner, I think unfreezing the old paradigms is very important, and so it's unfreeze, change, and reprise Lewine's model. And from this graph, you will see that basically innovations deal with these four dimensions, and they are all reinforcing cross-reinforcing each others, and we are slowly and gradually and simultaneously, so or in a balanced way, spanning across the incremental innovations to the higher level of innovations which deal with higher level of uncertainty. So we're talking about radical innovations for higher level of uncertainties, and when you're branching out to the outside, so we're talking about innovation that is a spectrum, a continuum, right? Spectrums and continuums that from the center of your core, stabilities of your processes, and slowly you still have to maintain the stability of the core, and from there you slowly branching out to the radical, to deal with the higher level of uncertainties. So based on innovations degree of novelty, innovations are many different further details. When we talk about innovations, radicals, or step-by-step incrementals, there are a lot of different natures. One very important thing is the fundamental innovations, the science, and dealing with the science levels, and so constitutes the highest level of innovation. This is very important. So when we focus on certain scientific issues, such as the we are trying to design certain materials or certain systems that we need to understand how the heat transfers are doing and how it can help us to very efficiently help us to uh, reduce the speed, the heat transfers, and so that the products maintains coolness and so on and so forth. And this kind of fundamental innovations are very very important. Or the in the social business perspective, we're talking about new social psychologicals or certain theories, supply chain theory that are fundamentally very important that can help us change the way we manage things. Okay, so for example, one of the fundamental innovations in the supply chain management theory could be signaling, theory of signaling. And because we are dealing with uncertainties, and so it's not only that we have uncertainties, but also the customers side also have uncertainty when they see our innovative product and services. So therefore, we need to ensure that we are really reputable and strong in the eyes of the consumers, that we are very strong in innovation. So therefore, they forms a trust on us, and that is called signal, right? That's called messages. So that information from we to them, and it's a signal to indicate our competencies. And therefore, to very large extent, that signaling to our competency and then bring us to positions competitively in the market as a reliable leadership in this competency. So when we talk about 5G, and maybe this company or this brands is the leaders in the world. Okay, and that is why is it so? Because of the fundamental innovation, and why customers is not only the working at the fundamental innovation level, because of the commercializations, exploitation situations. We also need to provide a good signals, right, to the customers, so that the markets can get accepted and diffuse quickly. Okay, so implementations of new technology give rise to new principles of operations and new understanding and new philosophy and new working principles. Thus, to completely new product generations of procedures, and this is very very important. And so we have just illustrated many examples, and all these science, heat transfers mechanisms and systems allow us to, for example, if you look into the thermodynamics first log and the equilibriums, heat transfers, and also the entropies, and we will be able to identify how the steams engines work across the temperature pressures and systems, and that was how the fundamental innovations work and things like that. The next one is the disruptive innovations, which we have already talked about it, that the radicalities of the innovation has is able to disrupt the way we work and the way we live our life, and the way our organizations manage their processes of to be leaders and to win in the market. So product and services that interrupt existing path of performance improvement and usually cover completely new dimensions of performance. Okay, so this is very important, such as the from the horse to the car, automobile that we know today, or from from the just using the natural cooling systems in the ancient times to today's refrigeration systems. So it is it's completely new dimensions of performance. Okay, from its robustness of the coolness and the speed of cooling the system is it's completely transcending the ancient or the old systems. So it is therefore of a radical nature, usually appeal to a customer segments, to influence the customer segments. Why? Because we are talking about mass acceptance. So everybody's buy it, everybody's live with it. And so that disruption innovation really has to get all the way into the market and things like that, gradually earning the respect of established customers and becoming the norm of the so there is of the marketing. So there is a path, right? A gradual path from one end from the beginning of the innovations to slowly into the disruptive acceptance of the disruptive innovation. So and therefore it is not innovation itself that disrupted. It is the innovation plus plus the market issue, plus the technologies, plus the environments, plus the organization, and so on and so forth that makes it disruptive. So let's, for example, we talk about B2B. We have the Airbnb shared hotels. It is a very good innovation, but is it disruptive? It is to some extent has touched upon and has been able to attract certain segments of customers, and in that case, it is. We will talk about later. It is probably adaptive innovations or some other types of radical innovation, but it is not really disruptive. It really disrupt the whole industry. And why is that so? Well, it is not just the innovation, it is the market acceptance, the diffusion, the way we manage it, and the overall innovations environments of the stakeholders, of the industries, of the market, and the technologies to deal with it and continuously upgrading it and improving it. So now you know that uh, uh, to deal with disruptive or to deal with all kind of more commercializations driven types of innovations, really marketing's also played a very important role, and we will discuss later the marketing strategies. And there are a lot of, we provide whole sections on the marketing strategies that how you can utilize that marketing strategies, the demand and the market share strategies and things like that to improve your net marketing margins and things like that. So the net marketing margins becomes very important in your financial structures that you have to deal with it. And it usually gets roughly at about 75% of the total sales if you you know go to, and analyze across all the financial statements of many public listed companies, probably roughly there. I'm not so sure exactly. So the next one is the quality improvement innovations. So this is really is it's nothing but you already have established certain things that you have already innovate certain things, and what you do is that you continues to improve certain quality dimensions of your product and continues to improve their utilities and enhance the utilities. And so we do not look down upon the quality improvement innovation, because that gives the continuous bombardment to the customer, so that it continues to receive the right signals, receive that we are not staying on foot. We are running. We are companies that is very dynamic and continues to improve again and again, and the quality itself can be transcendent. So do not look down upon that it is incremental. You can really improve all your the degree of your qualities, and so this is very important, such as when we talk about one of the quality is this quality is the speed of maintenance. And if you can somehow wire with the embed your product with the internet chips that allow to send signals and then to the craft systems, and allow your craft systems to analyze the workabilities of the lifetime issues of the product, and then you will engage with the customers more actively, and that gives the serviceability perspective of the qualities and reliability of the qualities, and so the product continues to perform and with very minimum downtime. And so there is a lot of quality operational issues, things like that, with basic functions remaining constant, right? Basic functions, and this category of only changes utility parameter in the sense of evolutionary improvement, but again, during that evolutionary improvements, you can really have a quantum leap in your quality control. Okay, so this is not an easy issues, and you can have a constant innovation on this area, and this is where all these distinct all these innovation types, from the disruptions and fundamentals and quality improvement. These are the business competencies that you need to master. And for each of the business competencies, how do they help you on differentiation? How do they help you to be cost leadership, and how do they help you to be able to assess a certain market? How do these be able to help you generate what kind of value to product, and how do they help you to generate the product quickly in time-based competition? So all these are competencies and competitive strategies in parallel, right? Because at the end, we are talking about that utilizations of your strength for opportunities, and if your ability to leverage the opportunities faster than or better than or in wider scopes than your competitors, then you gain a really solid competitive advantage. Right? So a competitive advantage could come from many of your competency sources, which really can enhance or deliver certain characteristics of cost leaderships and differentiations and accessibilities and variety of products and flexibilities and things like that. But then, but ultimately, competitive advantage that is really very solid it's a dynamic issue. It's beyond this competitive that we talk about in the nature of differentiations, which is but it's moving into the overall capability issue, right? Talking about the opportunities, things like that. Okay, so the adaptive innovation is adapt existing solution to specific customers' request, and so that so we have this we have our existing solutions, existing technologies, and we adapt to different markets. So we kind of have one product and spend into different markets. So it's adaptation. You can adapt in various different areas. You can adapt in product market, right? Penetrations, diversifications, and things like that. There are a lot of the product market issues. You can develop your product slightly for existing product, or you can create a market developments, things like that. So it's a lot of ways you can adapt. And imitation is also interesting. It's very important. And when we talk about VLIO, to be competitive at the competencies level, we need to ensure competitive advantages coming from our product and services that are variable. And as I already have told you that variable to whom? Variable to your organizations. That means it helps you on the top line, your revenue streams, and your bottom lines, your net profit, and it does also help you on the to your customers. Right? Your customers appreciate and willing to the things that you have given them of various different types of customers' values, utility values, emotional values, transcendental value, educational values, or things like that. Transcendental values in the sense that you go beyond yourself of reaching out to help other peoples and things like that. But I have to also talk about the just now the competitive advantage from the capability fundamental level, which is that the ability to neutralize the threat and exploit the opportunity better than the average uh, strength of your industry, and that is valuable. Okay, and that is what we mean by connections between the business competencies to the competitive strategy. And and then the next one is R, rare. Okay, and your resources and capabilities are rare, and I mean inimitable, not easily copy, and organize, get things organized. So all these things that we are talking about is the way we organize things, and which is making your companies more more integrated in a structured sense, so that when you are in the structures, it's more difficult to pull out, right? For competitor to pull out, because you have a structures that but you don't make your structures to be rigid until that you reduce your cognition. You have to be to, structures provides efficiency, but structure can reduces your cognitive capability. So you have to be careful on that situation. But again, if you utilize these imitations properly, it really can help you a lot, because it's just reiterations of solutions already in existing in other companies, and you use that for your benefits, and which is very important, because knowledge creates knowledge. And in the beginning, we need to imitate. For example, when we are students, when we try to learn, let's say how to simulate the neural network, and if we don't understand, we have to copy. We have to imitate how people are doing, so that, or so that we will know how to, what is going on within the processes, and why do we need to do this, why we need to do that, and what is the minimum the gradient descent means in the neural network, and how do we use that minimum gradient descent in our algorithm. And then eventually, when you know how to do it, then you slowly proceed to extractors, conceptual concept. Network is just nothing but input output mapping, and therefore, where is your competitive advantage? Or competitive sources, and you know that our data, it's very important. So how do you improve your data? How do you increase your data sources? You have to use your marketing and create external pool of customers. So the more people use your neural network product, our artificial intelligence enhanced products, it could be in your TVs, it could be in your air conditioning, and the more capable you are to be able to further improve on your neural network. So imitation does has a lot of strength. And again, to a very zero levels or low level, that means that you really has no innovations, and so this is like innovation. Okay, so innovations and uncertainty, as I already mentioned, that it does, without going to detail, it does a certain connection. Uncertainty means we are not knowing the situation. So if we are not knowing the situation, so how do we know that we are able to be successful? And so therefore, it is important that we have to get as many informations and knowledge as possible, and that would reduce our uncertainties, and that will ensure that our innovations will become more acceptable. So by its nature, innovation is about the unknown. So we already know we are dealing with something that is risky, unknown area, unknowns about what? Unknowns about the opportunity and possibilities. Okay, we have a lot of opportunities that we want to tap from the external environment, the market environment, or even the resources environments, the technology environments. And we have a lot of opportunities and possibility, but we are unknown about it. We are really unsure. Associated with doing something new with already uncertainty, which may or may not pay back in the future. In the beginning of the assessments, we for sure lacking our information, so we are not able to judge the net present value because we are unsure of the acceptability and therefore the cash in our production feasibilities and desirability of the market. So the cash flow sequence or the skills is not known, and so the net present values is not easily estimated, and that means that we have a lot of uncertainties. So therefore, it is to deal with that, we need to manage innovation process. Which involves so many things such as knowledge and informations and diffusibilities and interactions and communications, open innovation, right? Connections with all these external issues. It's to help you deal with uncertainties. So dealing with uncertainty becomes a very important part of your innovations process management. So uncertainty will always plague the process of innovations anyway, because in the process of creation or invention, many things that are uncertain, many things are new, and that is when we are charging ourselves into the unknown zone, right? And the more certain we are about this uncertainty, the more we can predict roughly where we're going. And so this is the known unknown. Okay, but if it's totally unknown, okay, that really gets it's a challenge. Okay, and we have to if all the nations, we see from people's different nations are rushing into space technologies and 5Gs or 6Gs, whatever, and many of these futuristic technologies to some extent, or even artificial intelligence. What kind of artificial intelligence does that you are focusing on? We know that we're capable of artificial intelligence or neural network on certain tasks, which is very narrow. But then we have a strong neural network artificial intelligence innovation, which is more capable of dealing with diversified tasks. But then to a super intelligence innovations, artificial intelligence that deals with just like the artificial intelligence, but the artificial becomes like a real human being type of intelligence that capable of even beyond into the spiritual level, and that is really a challenge. So we're talking about unknown. So who is capable of developing this, and how do you think that those will be the future? That is a challenge, and that only visionary companies can be able to do that. And so you need to strengthen your ability to control your own resources and strengthen your predictability. And so with the high predictability, the high resource and competencies control, then your companies can be real visionary companies. Okay, so otherwise it becomes really nothing but to some extent just that you are just adapting it, the adaptabilities, and you just plan ahead of time, or you just adapt with along the way, or you try to utilize certain resources and competencies to help you transform the companies. But but again, still step by step, man is not really visionary in the sense of achieving certain positioning. So uncertainty will always plague the process of innovation. Uncertainty means the difference between the amount of information required to perform the task and also the amount of information already possessed by the organization. So something that you already have, for sure you can extend your functionalities and and turn it into certain utilities and to benefit your companies and generate the returns. But then certain information that you require, information that you are required to perform the task, but yet you still not really in possession of it. But it is very important that you have it, and that is where the uncertainties come from. And the differences between this expected requires level and your possessions level, the larger they are, the larger the uncertainties. Okay, so this and you have to deal with all this issue. Okay, that's why a more capable people which associated along with the corresponding knowledge, skills, and attitude, the shorter you can go. That's why you need to recruit talented, specialized, some specialized employees, specialization, and so you can reduce the uncertainty, and so that you can go faster, because your job is to resolve all these uncertainties and things like that. And so uncertainties, as we have just demonstrated from the dimensions of them, novelties of the innovations, there are many different scopes, right? And so key ones are, for example, technologies, uncertainties, okay, and market uncertainties or organizational uncertainties. And then in the technology uncertainties, we're talking about product specifications and production processes. So let's talk about the product specification. Here it says the additional information about components and techniques the firms meets to create a new product or a new service according to specifications. And so it means that we are uncertain, right? We are uncertain of what exactly the specifications are. If we know the specification and we've it's just a production, just repeated the production, but then there's something very unique things that we want to create, and something very unique things that we want to create, and the innovation, which is innovation, and the specification is really unknown. And that's why we have to go through so many different types of innovation management processes, which we will cover. How do you deal with the opportunity identifications and then digest it and analyze it and evaluate on it and slowly turn it into certain focus areas, focus zones or opportunity. And from there you can work on your new product development. Again, the new product developments can be push and pull, and in the sequential sense to the parallel sense to a more advanced sense, and maybe today's the sixth generations of innovation or product innovations, that is artificial intelligence assistance. So all these product specifications, identification, the sensings and seasons of that also depend on the technology. So we're talking about integrating of all these different blocks and components. It also depends on the novelties of the technology. And again, so uncertainties in the specification, and we also need certain technologies to help us innovate, push the innovations further, or get the innovation through. And technology itself is uncertain. So in respect to the skills and knowledge required to successfully use the knowledge and things like that. And so these uncertainties will of the knowledge will further escalate the uncertainty in the way we produce things. So it's not that straightforward. And sometimes the certain product specifications need, let's say, very ability of raw material or materials to, for example, if we want to go to the outer space of certain, certain stars or Jupiters or whatever, so I'm not so sure that it needs to entry. You need the high temperatures, and so therefore you need certain raw materials and certain ability to produce your material in a way that is able to resist temperatures and also to be able to sustain the impact, unless you use your automatic control system that allows soft landing. Otherwise, there are certain impact issue, and so it is. So the product specifications and production processes are therefore interrelated. This can assist your product specification. The production can processes can assist your product specifications, and your product specifications in turns require certain production processes and things like that. Market uncertainties exists when a company is unsure about the nature of a particular particular market, and its ability to create a product which succeed in that market. And that means that you really, to reduce the uncertainties, you need to go through market research. And so therefore, you really need to understand what the customers want, what kind of values they need, and affect emotional value in what sense, cognitive value in what sense. I mean, cognitive in the sense of what do they assess in the minds of the customers? Do they assess the health perspective, or do they assess the risk perspective, or do they assess the utility perspective, or do they assess the aesthetic perspective, or do they assess what? And so this consumer, and once they accept, and do they immediately purchase the product, or they are waiting, also need confirmation from this, the other people's, or certain social pressures, or what about their attitudes, things like that. And so all this kind of social, psychological, functional, cognitive mechanisms working in the minds and hearts of the consumers. We're talking about consumer behaviors, and from there, then you can work on how to reduce the uncertainties of this product penetrating into the market, right? And so market uncertainties deal with all this issue, and also include issue relating to customer needs and wants. I have just explained it, and unknown consumer behavior, I have just explained it, and again also the pricing is a very important issue, and which is relative to the values that they perceive, perceptual map, right? So one of the very important business competencies is it's your ability to be able to generate the perceptual maps of the consumers correspond relative to your product and services, and then implement it and continues to innovate on it, and things like that. So this is very important. A lack of knowledge about the activities of the competitors is also another issue, that because market is not just you and the competitive customers, it is also you and your customers and competitors. So knowing your customers is important, but then knowing your competitors, it's also equally very important. And competitors' information you do not know, and that generates certain uncertainties in the market. Organizational uncertainties, we have already talked about it. It is how organizations organize itself. So we're talking about how do they deal with the resources, what kind of resources they need to invest, and what kind of business competency they need to invest in. Depends on the visionary degree, and it depends on whether they think that the market is predictable or unpredictable, or whether they are in control of resources or not in control of resources, or in combinations of the predictability, controllabilities, or resource-based views and market positioning strategy. They will have different strategies in managing the organization, and all this creates uncertainties. So we're talking about, and also there are transactional uncertainties on resources, whether you can get hold with these resources or not, and things like that. So resource uncertainty, decision-making uncertainties, acceptance uncertainties by your employees, all these issues can cause uncertainties. So again, all these uncertainties you have to manage, while at the same time innovation. So if your innovation is not able to handle all these uncertainties will drag you down and will cause you derail into a different area, and maybe slowing you down, or maybe you go nowhere and you forfeit and let go your innovation processes, and so you just give up. And so this uncertainties is important. They are stumbling block, but at the same time they are necessary driving force. Okay, so it's a two side of the same coin, right? And very important. So when we look at this uncertainties models, and if we put into a 3D, so we can get some structural ideas of the how we can imagine the world of uncertainties. And so this kind of 2Ds or 3Ds are really useful to help us reduce the complexities of the issue. So we are living in a complex world, and we have complexities caused by the uncertainties. I mean, the complexities leading to the uncertainties, right? Because it's so complex that we are not certain, right? And so so with that putting into a structural forms like a 2D, 3D scenarios, and it gives us it reduces our complexities, and so that we can work on it and reduce the uncertainties easily. Okay, this is a management skill, right? VUCA world, and how do you reduce that capabilities, and which is a business competency, ability to deal with it and make sense in competitively that it turns into competitive strategies, or your company make use of that, right? So market uncertainties, high, low, and the existing technologies, low and high. And then on the another axis, we have the organizational uncertainties. So from there, if you look into the original, the 2D dimensions, we have this um, low existing technologies and low market uncertainties, and so that means it's pretty certain, right? So you can have incremental innovation. But when we go into your existing technologies, or your technological uncertainty is very low, so you kind of mastering already your technologies, and your market is uncertain, so you can work on market innovation, which you have to focus on market-based strategy. Okay, market-based strategy. So your competitive strategies focusing on the market-based strategies. You try to identify ways through all the theories of marketing that you have learned before. It could or communications, or brandings and consumer behaviors in combination, and then systematically narrow down to help your improving your marketing net profit, net margin, which is your demand, your demands, your sales volume times the use all this capable net profit. I mean, the gross profit capabilities, and then plus all the strategies of the market based strategies, and you can find out how to innovate your market. Is it through channels, or is it through market shares, or is it through demand driven things, or is it through other types of market, more functional marketing strategies and things like that. So this is very important. And on the other hand, market uncertainties is low, which you reasonably understand your market, and so therefore you are established companies, and so you can move on to technology innovation. To help you reduce your technology uncertainties, and so you can master, because something is uncertain. Uh, it's not only you, right? It's the whole industry, and so therefore, taking actions on that uncertainty gives you the leading edge, right? And that is what technology innovation is for, and give you a leading edge in the uncertainty area. So you're trying to, so to other people, it is a threat. To you, it's an opportunity. So this ground really is also teach us a lot of things about opportunity and threat. So and also gives us the competitive advantages. So when we talk about competitive advantage from the competitive strategy point of view, and if we focus on at the fundamental level and working on how we from this graph, how we can better leverage the opportunity better than the industry standard, industry's average players, and better able to neutralize the threat of uncertainties or complexity. And so in that case, if we can comparatively work on our market and competitively work on our technologies and competitively work on our incremental innovation and to a large degree radical innovation at the high level of technology uncertainties and market uncertainty, then we can have competitive advantages. Again, to accomplish that, do not forget that we have a lot of these organizational organizational uncertainties that we also need to incorporate into considerations. All these company, strategic planning sessions, the non-routine tasks, or the goal decision-making processes, or your visions and mission identifications, task responsibility, resource allocations, budgetings and fundings, and things like the cultures, and all these are very, very important that you can, if you can reduce that, it can help you to speed up, right? So that's why the cultures and things comes into the pictures, and the technology uncertainties as many as you can think of, and examples of materials, components, or technologies, or the techniques of production, right? When we talk about market uncertainty, we're talking about we have already explained. Just give you a couple of ideas now. It's just customers' needs are you have to figure it out, sense and seize opportunity from identifying the clarifying your market needs, customers needs, customer groups, marketing mix, and distribution channels, and all these sources of supply and business model. Okay, and thus uncertainties is all this caused by the task uncertainties on the organizational level, right? Is caused by a lot caused by the non-routine natures of the R&D tasks at the high levels. Okay, and this very important. Technicals and organization, technicals and all these technicals and organization, or anyway, everyone is interrelated, right? So, for example, technical and organizational interdependence require to execute them that if you really lacking of the combinations of all these components, you are not able to really execute them properly, especially in radical innovation. You really need to pay a lot of attention in terms of the cohesions of all the building blocks. Okay, and we have already talked about it in all this issue. Okay, so level of uncertainties. Okay, so we have uncertainties, and we want to move to a calculated risk. Okay, and so to other people's, it is a threat. Okay, but to us, we can you can go through innovations management process I just told you to neutralize the threat and leverage the opportunity to create a competitive advantage. So this is a competitive strategy, and you have to build business competencies across all these domains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and supported and enabled by the organizational capabilities. And so the innovation management, therefore, are important driving force to convert uncertainty to a calculated risk. Okay, and that means that you already in the process generate a lot of knowledge. So knowledge, skills, and attitudes are very important. You need a set of people's expertise and capable persons that are able to help you drive the innovation management. And then I have already talked about all this innovation management to leverage the opportunities and exploit the opportunities and neutralize the threat. So it turns into a competitive strategy. And then for you to be able to tap on the product and market and win in the product and market. And one of the competitive strategies, for example, is the markets base, and otherwise is innovation, radical innovations and things like that. So and if you have a strong teams, skills, knowledge, and attitudes of your employees and organization, it is also serves as a signaling. I already explained it, which is give the credibility to the credible information, credibility to the product and market, and in turns can the markets can better buy in easily of your competitive strategies that demonstrated by these blocks and models. Okay, and so these are very, very, very important. So the uncertainties, if you go into these articles, you will know that there can be summarized in terms of it is something unknowns, but then the unknowns can be unknowns or unknowns. Okay, so there are 4 levels. You can refer to some of the articles references, and they some of the there are some of the unknowns already know unknown. You already know where unknowns are, and you know, for example, you can easily you're moving into this is level 1 uncertainty, so you kind of able to predict into your next in the future. So this is level 1. This doesn't mean that the future is entirely predictable, but rather that that you can develop that forecast. And sometimes you are not able to get into a single prediction, but then you are capable of understanding these possibilities. Okay, so this is a level 2 uncertainty. So the future can be described as one of a limited number of alternatives. Okay, that is there's a level 2. And then when we talk about level 3, so we are talking about a little bit not so easily straightforward, right? It's possibilities becomes very diffuse, right? So level 3 uncertainty is really similar to the level 2, which we have just described, but it covers broader area because of the uncertainties increasing. And so one can identify the range of potential features, but then the possible outcomes may lies in a wider areas. Okay, so but again, it is more known in the sense of you have a constraint of the boundary, so you kind of know where you are, but you still do not know exactly where it is inaccurately. And the last one is the unknown is the really true ambiguity. So uncertainty to the extent becomes ambiguity. So you're not clear on what is going on, and that is level 4 uncertainty. Future outcomes are unknown. Okay, both unknown and sometimes not only unknown, but sometimes it's very difficult to even know what is going on, and so it's unknowable. Okay, that is a challenge, and whoever can see this and in control can lead the way for the future and becomes the leaders for many years to come. And because by the time people are able to catch up with you, they that means they need to spend a lot of times on unknowable. So they need to master the technologies, and that gives you the leading edge. And so this unknowable translated into business competency that you can control, can masters for many years, and that because of that VRIO, it gives you the ability to be competitive in the market for a long times. And so this unknowable and unknowns, therefore, if you can leverage it more, it gives you a strength. So not even the range of possible future outcomes can be identified. Multiple dimensional uncertainty interrelate and create an environment that is more or less impossible to foresee. So there is no basis to forecast the future, and therefore it depends on your competencies to master the unknowable and to try and to reduce the unknowns. Okay, so this very, very important. Let's discuss all this uncertainty in the perspective of customers related uncertainties. And there, so we're talking about uncertainty from the customer side, and that gives you the perspectives of the, also to a large extent, help you to address the market uncertainties, because it is very important. Markets are customers, right? And so if you want to reduce the uncertainties of the market, your innovations and your strategies competitive strategy has to be focused on reducing and leverage that uncertainties. There are two factors that are very, very important. And uncertainty is driven by the amount at stakes, in the sense that because it's a big investment, innovations and big investments, and therefore customers really serious about it. So the higher the customer's product specific investments, the more uncertainties will play the role. So a little bit of money, no uncertainties. But if your innovations require huge investment, and that is a concerning issue, and that is uncertainty. Customer side of uncertainties will stop all your of your feasibilities and things like that. The second factors refers to certain qualities of the product. Can they, understand the qualities of your product and get credential and understandings of your qualities of the product, and that itself will reduce the uncertainty and therefore accept your product more easily. So that's one. It is very important that the market-based strategies and the marketability, uncertainties, and leveraging and ability to utilize that it's very important. That means that you have to neutralize the threat. You have to leverage that opportunity, and that is the source. That is the competitive advantage at the very, very fundamental level. Okay, it's utilizing all the sources of competitive advantage, whether it's your technologies or technologies or innovation in the sense of differentiations and cost competitive, cost leadership. Eventually, it's arriving at the opportunities, leveraging, and the threat neutralization. And for these second factors of the refers to certain quality of the product, and there are three qualities which we already have learned about this product issues that comes from the customer perspective. Is number one is the search quality, and that means that we can we can just go to Google and search, and we understand it, and therefore we can just purchase, right? So there are no for the purchase, and some things are unknown only after the purchase, which we call experience quality product or experience product, or credence product, credence quality. So meanings that unknown even after the purchase. So we have so we have three different types of products: search product, experience product, and credence product, which generate three quality and uncertainties zone. And so therefore it is how we can manage this market-based process or innovation processes at the market side, market end, commercializations end, and then also at the same time your product development end, because it's all interrelated. So you cannot wait until the end, then you try to use your marketing strategies to improve, to promote. That is like a push, right? And you cannot simply do like that. That is all innovations. Good innovation is parallel, right? Marketings and innovations are kind of parallel. So this very important. This experience quality and credence quality involved a considerable amount of uncertainties, because you one is after the purchase, then and the other one is even purchase after you purchase, you still do not know. such as, for example, we have an innovative healthcare services, or we have an innovative medical services, and or whatever, or fashion, make your face, and how do you get certain out of it, and so you have an innovative product to make your face looks like younger, 30 years old, and so it involves considerable uncertainties, and so if you want to be accepted by the market, which is what innovation is for, you have to help resolve this issue. So on the one hand, you have to resolve people from the quality perspective, and the other ones, you have to be able to help them resolve at the investment monetary investments level. Okay, so these are investments paradigm and the quality paradigms need to work hand in hand to help reduce and leverage the customer related uncertainties. And it is a huge discussions and topic. I think you can use that to help our companies, and the research huge. And I was having during the couple of days, 2 days before, I was having a dinners with one of the nearly graduating PhD students from Sassin, and we were discussing about he wants the best the number one awards in technological award in innovative awards in Thailand in 2021, and on 3D printing of the coral reef. And so I was just we were discussing, and I suggest to him also that apart from just by looking into instead of looking from the sales driven commercialization, why don't we look at the investments perspective, investment paradigms that would probably be better, more fundamental and solid to convince the for the acceptability and diffusibility, such as through share economies and things like that. So reparadigmatic is a very important for innovation, right? So innovation is not only about product. Innovation is not only about process, right? It is also more important at the paradigm level, right? So you have to work on the paradigm, change the paradigms of the customer. It is already innovation, right? And things like that. So central task of a company, all this is to reduce the uncertainty. So this is the key role of a company, which is to reduce uncertainty, and that is where innovations comes into the picture. And this is where the diffusibility and success of the innovations comes into the picture. So innovation management is a holistic management processes that your job is to reduce the uncertainties from every perspective as you can. So reduce uncertainties of the customer related uncertainty. It relates to two types of the uncertainties, right? One is the user related uncertainties, which I have just explained, and the other one is the behavior related uncertainty. This behavior-related uncertainties is based on the fact that customer rests his basic decisions to purchase for a certain product or system unilaterally on the supplier's behavior. So it is very important that we have to focus on our side to convince the customers that they can get confidence on our product. So the customers assess the supplier's behavior during the initial acquisition, right, of their product. So the more we have to be really professionals, and we have to be really solid in innovation, and we have to be really know and work on the fundamental investments oriented paradigm. The customer has to be sure that the supplier does not exploit the whatever offers we give to them opportunistically, so that they think they're scared, and so that they will not invest. Or we say that we have an innovative idea, but then later on we do not upgrade our product, or maybe we upgrading niche terms to invest a lot of a lot of additional prices and things like that. All these issues are, 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 are the different perspective and different domains of the signals suppliers behavior. Again, it comes back to signaling theory, right? And but from the suppliers behaviors, the user related uncertainties, which we have already discussed, and it can result from uncertainties regarding the evaluations of the offer's achievements potential. So it is partly, this is partly the user perspective. So we have to really know how they evaluate, and the users may not be able to evaluate them, and the types of frequencies and times of the future investments easily. And so therefore we have to do a lot of understandings of the consumers and customers, right? And work on it from different perspective, from the searching perspective, so that they can search easily. Even here, they also need a lot of searching, because before they also need to search, and during the experiences we need to make sure that they experience well and credential, make sure that we have a continuous monitoring of their things, so that they can get the confidence after the purchases. So again, we have to ensure that anything that that the customers are evaluating is very important points for our innovation and to be successful, and we must deal with it. And so the more we deal with all this uncertainty and resolve all this uncertainty, the more we can accelerate the innovations, penetrations, and diffusions into the market. Okay, so these are in conclusions, all of these are just nothings, but we can summarize in terms of good theory called signals, right? So to avoid all these uncertainties, appropriate actions like signaling should be implemented. Okay, and there are a lot of signaling activities, and which I have already explained it, but here just kind of give you a summary that customers can look at our skills, knowledge, and attitudes, and our communications messages, and use of the reference satisfying customers as part of the signals that we can be trusted, and new product pre-announcements, right? For example, when the iPhone or the Samsung's and Huawei's, when they before they make the product announcements, they always have the pre-announcements into the market. And all this serve as credible information about the capabilities of the company in terms of a product. So again, capability is good. How do we make use of the capability is also very challenging, and we should not ignore. Okay, and so all the signaling activities that we have just explained serve as credible information, okay, about the capability of the company in terms of the problem solutions for the customers and his empathies. Okay, significance of innovation for business management. Okay, so we know that innovations is very important, and increasingly dynamic, complex economic environments plus the globalization's context are making the innovation even more important. Okay, and for example, the globalizations where everybody can reach out to everyone opens up the many things. It opens up the way we procure, and it opens up the market, consumer markets, right? And therefore it gives strength and pressures to the local markets. Okay, and because of the foreign participations, not only we but also the foreign participations into our system. So these are very, very important. And the other one is that it also opens up a lot of new product, because we local product plus the new product from other places, from other countries, and sometimes these globalizations and can opens up new product within increasingly short delta t, shorter intervals of time. So this very important. So we have to be very careful on all this issue. So the globalizations, in conclusions, increases the mobilities of the goods and labels, and increases the high mobility of informations and knowledge flows, right? Especially in this internet era, for and in the futures of the IoT, Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence and cloud computings, and this blockchains, and all this high mobility of information knowledge will get accelerated. So this will generate work companies by rapid technology progresses, and which will provide many more additional innovative solutions for the consumer customers to apply, to purchase, and right. And so this all this issue really the reduces the interval in which knowledge can be applied, right? And so this and because of that, the customer needs is to meet the customer needs is shorter, right? And that means that it turns into product life cycle faster, and again, therefore drive more needs of innovation. So you can see the overall cycles, right? Is overall dynamic cycles. You can, if you want to do a dynamics system simulations, you can probably do that in a lot of. So you can see which company is winning and how your company is going to win if you do certain thing here and there, and things like that. So this is a very complicated issue, and has this road of globalizations, and forcing us to stay competitive, right? So in conclusion, innovation management is therefore very important, right? And how do we succeed in innovation? Now I think that you already get a good understanding of how we can proceed step by step. I will try to speed up the discussion, and I will give you the PDF slide so that you can read through, because overall, you know, the sequence and the patterns and the start of my discussion, and so that you can and when you try to understand your, you know, like brand associations, when you trying to stimulate a brand recognition to the customers, and every times the customers will associate your brand design with certain things that they are familiar. So I hope that when you read all these issues, there are certain brand association, meaning certain knowledge associations, just like neural network, right? One signals come into your brains, it doesn't mean only one. It stimulates other things that comes into the picture. So success factors, many areas. It could be market is very important to be successful for your innovations. Performance of your organization is also important. If your performance is not there, it will reduces the motivation for the next for your employees. Innovations cultures are very important. Resources of your organization that you involve interdisciplinary multi-teams, and all these budgetings and things like this are very important. Innovation processes are very important. We will go through it step by step. So, and such as the front end of innovations that deal with how you identify your opportunity. Even the, you know, to some extent, the uncertainty domains that I discuss in terms of the market and technological uncertainties, and that to some extent the ability to deal with uncertainty itself at the front end, at the beginning, before that is at the end where we talk about opportunity and threat. And so before the new product development, so that the systematic dealing with all this front end of the being an ambidexterity organizations, opportunity and threat exploration is very, very important. So before you exploitation through new product development. So these are very, very important. And innovation strategies are also very important. And when we talk about that your balanced portfolios of product that you need to innovate on, and your your unique differentiation in your market and in your through your product and services, and with values and utility value, functional values, and all these emotional values, and how do you communicate all this through the market-based strategies in, and branding and things like that. So all these are very much very important in the area of innovation strategy. So for a company innovation process, for a company to succeed, competitive products are very essential. So again, product got to be very competitive, that is able to win the interest of the customers, okay, and whether from the perspective of the search qualities, or the credentials qualities, or experience qualities, or values, and whatever. Okay, so those are very important. The signaling, right, and the suppliers' competencies and things like that. A company needs to have the capacity, means the capability, right? To depends on your investments. Your capability could have a lot of capacities for developing a customer-oriented product, okay, and needs to master innovations process. So these are very, and according to for the customers to customer-oriented product, that means that we need to really understand the user-related perspective or uncertainties. That means that the users have certain criteria. We need to know their needs and requirements. We need to know how do they assess and rationalize the that whether they should and involved with this new product development, right? So we need to therefore strategically we need to really go through all this analytics process. So evaluation criteria, we could focus. We can use our SWOT that focus on current and future perspective to help us rationalize all these quite opportunities and threat, and establish the desired long-term and medium-term market positioning of our product, and so that we know where our product at this moment to the future, and we know the STP segmentation, targeting and positioning of our new and old and the existing product. All this market-based informations and industry informations should also be the guiding post for driving our innovation processes. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of innovation process structure, and so that you can know how people innovate. You can adapt it and modify it, right, to depending on your company's cultures and depending on your product scenarios. Different process model. Well, you can see there are three different zones, right? There are three different zones. I have discussed a lot on the ambidextrous organizations in terms of opportunity and threat, and we also discussed couple the 1 hour before that we talk about competitive advantage at the fundamental level of leveraging the opportunities and exploiting that, neutralizing the threat. So this front end of innovation process is very, very important, which constitutes of discovery. So you discover certain things that you want, certain opportunity, that certain things that really interesting, and you go through the gate number one to screen through your ideas, and then you proceed to scoping which one is very important, and then you screen again for the get to that your ideas that has some business import significance. So you try to build this business case. From there, you're you are starting to seize the opportunity. So you sense the opportunity and seize the opportunity, which is very important for ambidexter really. From there, it's just reconfigurations of your resources and systems of business competencies. And in this particular case, we're talking about business innovation on the product perspective. And so new product developments could be, passing through another gate to see whether you want to develop the product, and then from there you get through another gate to see whether you can go into the next step of testings and validations of the feasibility of the product. And before that, then you can launch it, go to launch gate and see whether you need feasible to launch it, and then you launch it, and that is commercializations, and then you have a post launch review. And then strengthening and to identify evaluation and identify which are your skill, knowledge, and attitude, business competency, and ambidexterity competency. This is one of the embedded ambidexterity, exploitations, and inspiration. And then you define a competitive strategy, policies, and direction, and then you use that to speed up this innovation business processes. So you can see that it's a good combination of competitive strategy and business competency development driving the innovation processes. This one I expanded on these couples. Okay, so these are from couples, and this is from me, and we're combining all this into, and there are certain unique things that I separated into three areas so that you can see the innovations and commercialization, inventions and commercializations as part of the innovation processes more easily, and even see the ambidexterity competencies and actually working on it in a very more vivid sense. And if you want to really understand the innovation process model, so you have to really understand the evolution of the innovation management process so that you do not get trapped by the previous because the environment changed. So it is, if you follow the old systems of processes, it could be slowing you down and not fitting to the speedy requirements of the markets, which I have just explained in this area, that the globalizations that forces you to increase your reduce your product life cycle, and therefore innovation evolutions becomes very, very important. And so we have this time periods from 1950s all the way to 2020 today. And we have the first generations, which deal with technology push, which is pushing from your design and into the market, and the second generations, which is market pull. Again, it's very sequential, and then generation 3, you push and pull, but then still sequential, and of course there's certain feedback, but then you go into more more simultaneous engineering, parallelizations and integrations about the market and the supply side and resources, and then you go into a little bit more flexible of using the internet and electronifications and open innovations ideas, but basically the same same ideas. But then from 2020 onwards, we need to do some research, and maybe it's a good project of assignments for you. But I just suppose that it probably can be assisted by artificial intelligence, and this is an open discussion, open area. And all these are uncertainties, right? All these are uncertainties. And a couple of articles that you can read, like on the third generations and the fifth, towards the fifth generation, but it's not yet the fifth generation. Is that you can see that some creative ideas already starting since 1994 before we move into the 2000s. And these are just another business process managements, which are feedback loops. We have these uncertainties, okay, zones, which we talk about all these uncertainties. We have already illustrated and how do you leverage the uncertainties, and then through the through the neutralizations of the threat and the opportunity. So we're talking about turning these uncertainties into competitive innovation, competitive and innovative strategy being defined, and which will need to utilize your analysis of your competitors, analysis of your uncertainties environments, and analysis of your industries, analysis of your customers, and then you based on that analysis, then you or SWOT analysis, whatever, and then you formulate your strategies and implementation plan. And from there, this is the strategic management. And from there, you can then channel into your innovation process, and which can be across all your different functions, all the functions, whether it is productions or operations, you can follow this process. So it's not necessary only for product development. So this is general situations where you can apply innovation processes for various different types of functions. And so if you can do that, then then this is not only the new product development. So therefore, your company's become an innovation-driven company, okay, which is not that straightforward and not that easy, right? So this innovation process, for example, if you focus on product and supported by design management, marketing management, and R&D. So you need design management, marketing management, and R&D to help you. Okay, and under the innovations, cultures, and organization resources support based on your budget, right, and strategic direction. And then you start your processes starting from ideas generations and evaluations, then passing through a gate of assessments, and then you product concepts, and then you developed it, and then you test and validation it, and then you slowly commercialize it, and right. So this then you can control. Okay, you can a lot of things you can do the control. Okay, and before you after you launch it, you can after you have launched your product, you can also have another step, which is on the purple directional symbol, product maintenance, and so you can continue to differentiate the variations of your product in the markets, right? Again, this itself is a series of processes and steps that business competencies that you need to monitor. So people has already, our organizations has already done a good job on the main product, and so now it is the time that another sections takes over, product maintenance, variation, differentiations. Again, they need to go through a different a set of similar processes and things like that. This design, management, marketing, and R&D, these three management span across this innovation strategy, span across the product innovation, span across the product maintenance. So with this is very important. So this span across all your strategy, it span across all your processes, and it span across your maintenance. Okay, so this very important. So to do a good job strategies, you need to integrate and consolidate your R&Ds and marketing message informations and design management. So this you can see the three line that span across all this issue. So this is yeah, from here you can see that uncertainty is higher at this levels, okay, because we started from uncertainty and slowly reduce the level of uncertainty through the competitive strategy, and so the uncertainty becomes more and turns into more information, and the more information that you have, that means you're in control, hopefully in control of the market. And so we have already talked about the ambidextrous sense and sees. So the engines of sense and assist composed of all this opportunity and identification. Then we analyze it, and the ideals generation, ideal selections, and then from there we have the concept and technology developments which are interacting with each other before we move into the new product developments, which we have already discussed and turned into commercialization and launched to the market. And so these new concept developments are opportunity sense and sees are very, very important aspect of the front end of the innovation. So the innovation strategy, we can have the good, simple understanding that these are the innovation triggers, and the triggers the strategizations, strategy developments of the innovation. And so the strategy as innovation strategies could have the, for instance, technology strategy, product strategy, and these are three important ones, right? These are the two, the innovations penetrated in all functions, but the main ones are technology strategies and product strategies and process strategy interacting with each other. And those that triggers are these the staff, suppliers, research institution, or competitors, and all these business competencies. And it will the better you deal with all these, consolidating, integrating them, the more you can triggers the innovation strategy. And in terms, you have to realize the timing strategy, which is the time of time-based competition, how fast you can get into your market, right? Characteristics of strategy. We talk a lot about strategy, and just give you a brief summary of strategy. Strategies deal with high complexities of issue and turning and turns into organized way of dealing with the environment, with the market opportunities and system. And it is a long-term natures and continue for a long times. Those are used to win for a long time, not a short term. And deliberate planning, so that means that you dealing with certain direction and investments plan after you have consolidated your front-end innovations into new products, so you already have a deliberate planning and how you can achieve your objective, company objective, and your innovations objective. And responsibility to top management is the key for success of the realization of strategy. And adaptability is also very important. They allow you to adapt continues with the changes in the environment. So usually in strategies, we know that in strategies we are dealing with the environment, right? So, but it progresses from intended. You intend a strategy, you intend to have this strategy, but then when you actually implement it, that is what you arrive at. Okay, such as the planned strategy, and then certain things are being realized, certain things are not realized. And because the environmental changes and you adapt, certain adaptations have to be there. So we call emergent strategy. Whether it is planned strategies or emergent strategy, both planned and adapted or emergent strategy, they for these particular cases, they must positions the organization. They must be, so whatever strategies that you utilize must be able to position your organizations within, exogenously given the environments, where the environments, external environments, opportunities and threats are there, and you are just one of the organizations that is utilize your strategies to be able to have a unique positions in the company to leverage opportunity and threat given the environment. So this is an environment driven perspective or paradigm. Okay, and again, maybe a good homework assignments is what theory you can use to improve your intention. So I mean, if you don't have intention, nothing works here, and everybody stops, right? So intention is the starting points, and the behavior is the next situation phase, right? So these are very important in this strategic management. Okay, this one is just descriptions of the process strategy on this page, and the process strategy frequently results from the chosen technologies and product strategy. So when you have a certain product, you need certain technologies, or certain technologies can create certain product, and then based on that, you need a certain process to help you realize this product. So and things, imitations of the process in innovations of new technologies is expected to lead to cost reductions and quantities, as I already demonstrated to you that imitations is necessary and help you to understand your and generate more knowledge, and immediately can give you the cost reductions and quality and improvement, right? And then from there you can slowly gain more knowledge, and then you can improve your process innovations slowly. So it is incremental innovations to radical innovations in that process strategy sense. If the this is very important because these concepts I want to demonstrate to you that links to competitive strategy, and so that you can better utilize your business competencies and better develop the competitive strategy from two different paradigms. So let's go through a little bit step by step. If the rational planning approach is follow, okay, we think it's step by step, right? This is a rational planning process, okay, starting from intentions to planning and adaptations and realizing in positioning your company, and so it implies that with the increase of uncertainty, organizations which are better able to analyze and predict changing situations are more successful, right? So therefore, when you have an increasing of uncertainties, and so things are uncertain, so that your organization that are able to make use of all these uncertainties and leveraging them, and neutralizing them through your ability to make use of all this information, analyze the informations, and therefore predict and therefore suggest a plan, and that would be according to this situation, in a rational situation, that would be lead your companies to be more successful than organizations who do not have the ability to deal with all these uncertainties. And therefore, this theory and data iteration and skilled knowledge and attitude in predictions is very, very important. Okay, so these are very, very important. Alternatively, right? So these are the planning, right? So that's why we have this intended strategy that in dealing with uncertainty, we have to be able to plan deliberately, get ourselves through analysis and predictabilities to the realized part. But then the second part of adaptation is also equally important. Alternatively, the adaptive approach suggests organizations have to be a little bit flexible and react and capable of react quickly to changing situation in order to be successful. So some agility has to be there. The fundamental difference between the planning and the adaptive approaches lies in dealing with the uncertainties. Okay, so these are maybe in a very if you look into this the next graph, you will see that when you emphasize on prediction is high in resolving and dealing with your uncertainty, that means that that you are in the planning territory. Okay, but then if you are low emphasis on prediction, then you are then maybe you do not go in depth into your analysis and make use of your sense and systems response, so that you need to continuously need to adapt into your uncertain environment. But again, this whatever you do, whether planning and adapting, you have to ensure that you use your planning and adaptations to positions organizations in the market uniquely. That is how you can get a competitive advantage. For example, Michael Porter talks about competitive strategy positioning through differentiations in cost leadership. And this because it's exogenous environments, and so you're just positioning in the exogenous environment, so your ability to control really is a little bit low. Okay, not on the other hands that your ability to control is very high, which means that you're making use of resources and business competencies for your competitive strategy. So in that sense, then you're then it's you are in hold of your resources and capabilities and business competencies. So you're in the constructions approaches rather than positioning. So you're making use of resources with resource-based field, for instance. And in that case, when you have high capabilities of predictability, then your company is visionary. Otherwise, your companies will need to make use of partnerships and value co-creation with internally or externally or networking in the ability of adaptations, but in the transformative sense, because you are more in control rather than reacting to the environment. So you're not adapting, but you are adaptively transforming it. So we call it transformative in the sense. So these are very important. And whichever you're doing, so for positioning of the organization within the exogenously given environment, both approaches can be combined. If you can combine planted and emerging, planted and emerging, so it's planted emergence, right? So you allow planning and emergence to come simultaneously in sequentially. Things like these approaches, these positioning approaches can be challenged by construction strategies, which there's a mistake here, strategies with visionary and transformative approaches, which I just explained. So while positioning deal with the relative emphasis on predictions and navigations in these exogenous constructions, really is deliberating efforts to be able to control the environment. So the environment is endogenous, and you're turning the environments to be endogenous and controllable in a sense. So compared with positioning strategies, construction strategies, I have already explained, choose a different approach to overcoming uncertainty. So both are just ways of overcoming uncertainty. So you could have positioning way to overcoming strategies, or you could have constructions way to overcoming strategy. In that, they attempt to control the uncertainty inducing environment. So we are in control of the environment. So the environment becomes endogenous in the sense, right? So so we have the hero change the environment, and the environment change the environment change the hero, make the hero, right? So these are the two things that facts prophets that we have familiarized with. So these are very important. So depending on how this control is exercised, the approach is either visionary or transformative, which I have just explained, but you can read it. For the visionary, we will talk about it, which is the entrepreneurship, very important, and I would talk about the entrepreneurial management competencies, entrepreneurial strategies on that. So transformative approaches focus on co-creating goals with others in a naturally persuasive process. So everybody engage in that interacting processes of getting your organizations to be able to win in the market and lead to a predictable outcomes and create the new futures more systematically. And once you have that strategy in place, positioning strategy, construction strategies, and with the vision and strategy, then how do you get your organizations rolling. And so this strategy mapping and balance scorecards would be a very important implementation processes, and also it's could be a very important strategic or business competency management processes and things like that. And so to win strategically, you have to the vision and strategies, company corporate strategies will need to turn into business strategies that consist of 4 dimensions: learning and growth, and internal processes, and customer perspective and financial perspective, which each of the perspective asks a question, address different question. And so you can basically come up with different business competencies in, based on these questions. How should we learn and organize ourselves, and which are also the strategies that you would need in order to get your companies to win in the market. And how should our internal processes be designed? So how are you gonna, innovations could be on this area, innovations could be on this area, innovations on customers area, innovations on the financial areas, innovation is not necessarily on the product area. How should we appeal to our customers, right? And on the customer perspective, and which financial results should be the strategy lead to? And so we will spend time on the financial plan, financial analysis on this market-based strategy in the future. Okay, so if you look carefully on this strategy map, we can call it strategy formulations or strategy implementations, or we call it strategy map. And then you can, once you have this map, you can evaluate. So this is called balance scorecard or strategy map. So the balance score strategy map itself is already evaluation control. So you kind of iterating it and control it. We have already demonstrated the control, and all this situation analysis, whether you're analyzing the companies in terms of the value chains and VRI or variable, rare, and immutables, organized structures and resources, and analyzes the company's environment, such as the industries of buyers and competitions, or the SWOT analysis, strength, W weakness analysis, which is needed databases on company and of the competitions analysis. So relative to the competitors, you will know your strength and weaknesses. Relative to the company environment, you will know your opportunity and threat. And so based on that, you gain a lot of knowledge, and which will help you to reduce the uncertainty that is already I have already demonstrated, and that to knowledge reduce the uncertainties through the various innovations like radical innovations and things like that. And then from this situation analysis, what are the antecedents to organization learning? What are things factors before this organizational learning can enable this to happen? And this could be your assignments and projects as well. So there are actually a lot of assignments and projects you can enlighten yourself with real examples, and then from there you can drive this, and then from once you have all this knowledge, then you can design this balanced scorecard. So we use this knowledge and use this balanced scorecard to reduce the implementation ambiguity. So it becomes very, so we're talking about such a frameworks against a structure to complexities, so make it clearer. So we reduce the complexities, and then from there we has the knowledge and reduce the uncertainties, and from there we use the strategy mapping to reduce our implementation ambiguity. And again, this is therefore a very robust way of VU dealing with challenging with VUCA world that you often now need to encounter and hurdle. Okay, so from there, we have to ensure that we have speedy break-even. Okay, and so whichever investments that you have, fixed costs, and your technical technological innovations and process innovations, which determines your variable cost and your raw materials, your product design, And then from there, you based on your market-based strategies and focus on driving up your sales, and you have to do in such a way that can probably accelerate at a faster level, and so that you can get more profit, and right, and that is overall requirements of the finance. Otherwise, your company is in the loss, and from there you will be able to know your net present value, which is the negative of your initial investments plus summations of the from 1 to the period T. And from there you can know your cash flows, and divided by 1 plus all your discounted rate, or the things that you the rate of the returns that you think that is more feasible or interested by organizations. And from there, if the minimum requirements is the when you set this into 0, and that would be your internal rate of returns. Of course, it gotta be more than the money that you can generate by investments, right? So this is investment. If you look into entrepreneurship, the rich daddies and poor daddies mental models, and you can see that investors will probably invest based on certain returns requirements, but then the business mental model, entrepreneurs would design a system, right? Would design a proper business system to allow you to generate the NPV, right? Better than investors and things like that. So the way we position our product, you already know that that means that you have to look into the market research and understand exactly what kind of things, products, customers are better, and they intended to have and expect to have. And then from there we can know where we can provide, we can equip and deliver to our customers' requirements, and then so we generate we understand, for example, services are important, qualities are important, and relative to quality and services there is a price. So this is a 3D perception map, and then from there we can know where we are relative to our competitors, so that we need to depending on where we are, if we are further from if our competitors are better, then we need to try to minimize our distance. Otherwise, if we are better than a competitor, we try to maximize the distance from. And so the positioning or our product relative to the competitors and the distances and the idea positioning of our product. All these are very important messages and informations that we need when we do the market research and perceptual mapping. And then from the perceptual mapping, we can know what the customers are looking for, the customers' attributes, right? Those are customers' attributes, and from the customers' attributes, which is customers' requirements, and we can turn into understanding the engineering requirements, so which is how. And then from the engineering design, and different design has different criteria, and all this different criteria could have the interrelationships, or it is impossible to to have perfect on all these engineering variables. Certain and different variables have different interrelationship type correlations, and so this very, very important. And then from there we work on the relationship between our engineering and customer attributes, and to see whether whether certain types of engineering requirements are able to deliver certain customers' requirements better. So the relationship metrics to how degree of support of what strong, that means engineering's ability to deliver the customers' requirements are extremely strong, than 9, and the mediums and weak and 1. So this will be allow you to give a quantitative numbers, and then from there you will know from the engineering design which ones that you need to which would be your target, and so you need to depending on the relationship and depending on your engineering requirements, maybe certain things that you need to maximize and certain things you need to reduce and things like that. And then from there, you basically implement it. And then from there, the customers will forms the perceptions of what you deliver, right? And then and these perceptions, certain attributes are very important, right? Certain are less important, and depending on your importance, maybe certain marketing strategies or have to be there. And then from there, you can deliver your marketing strategies, and from there you can generate relative performances of your attributes comparing with other types of product from worse to the better. And this is from the market perspective, from right. And then from the engineering perspective, when you actually implement all this issue, there is certain cost, importance, and technical difficulty involved with these engineering characteristics. And then from there, you also need to know where you can know where you are, and then what kind of target you need to perform, and right, things like that. And if you go into the detail, you see that, for example, the technical significance, very absolutely significance or relative significance of all this relative to the different engineering characteristics. And then from there, you can, if you want to do this, maybe the degree of difficulty will be higher on this side or compared with the other side. And then what are your targets, for each of these, where you want to go, and depends on your cost and investments, and then relative to the competitor, where is your performance from worse to better. So you can see that all these are, we call it house of the qualities, right? HOQ. And this is quality function deployments one, which takes on the voice of customers' input, and this is the process. And the output is the you exit it, right? And so when you exit, you can therefore links to many different areas. So for example, we have the first one, which is the customer informations, getting into telling you what the want and how's the quality. Number one is the concept planning phase, from the marketing to the R&D specifications, and then from there turns into parts development, and then from there to the how you're gonna plan the process and how you're gonna produce it, to production planning, and then you have feedback. And so the how of these phase ones will become the what of the second one, and the how will become the what, and then continuous feedback. And then from there, at the end of the production, you generate the product, and then you deliver and install maintenance, and then we'll get a lot of information back to your what again. And then otherwise, you will continue to coordinate with other supporting roles, like for example, in your value chain, and your supporting secondary value chain, secondary services and documentation, testing, planning, process planning, and things like that. So these are very important. And then from there, your customer perception. Lastly, the customer perception, if you work carefully and examine carefully in your market, you will know that customers either really dissatisfied with your product or satisfied with the product, and to what extent that you have fulfilled the performance, right? Fully implemented the high quality performance, or to what extent that your performance is not there, or low quality. And so this is the expected area. The customers know what you're doing, and you communicate it to the product. The product specification to the customer. So this is the area. And so if you fulfill it and more satisfaction, if you do not fulfill it, is don't satisfy, right? This is the linear area, which is the specified area expressed by yourself, and the customers consciously know about it. But then there are certain areas where you really do beyond, you're giving assignment, exciting, delighting, unexpected, still unexpressed, and still unconscious. The customers got it and feel very happy. And if that is the case, and if you fulfill it, the customers will get very delighted, more than their happiness at this level. But then if you do not fulfill all this excited level, the customers is not dissatisfied, because this is beyond the requirement. Otherwise, if you not able to meet those minimum requirements, certain things that like hygienic issues, right? The certain things that you gotta be there, and then it's just but you do not fulfill it, then the customers will feel very, very unhappy, right? If you're not fulfilling. But if you do fulfill it, such as a courtesy, returning a call to the customers, and if you do return a call to the customers and you fulfill it, customer is not gonna be delighted, and it's, it's just straight, right? It's just it is as it is, because this is the responsibilities, right, of your customers. And otherwise, if you but if you do not courtesy recalling, returning a call, and that they get very upset. Okay, so this is hygienic. This is the requirement, and this is the beyond fulfilling expectation. So this is the kernel model. If you want to get into the detail, you can go into this. Okay, so we basically conclude almost two, you can say 2 weeks or the whole semesters of the innovation business competencies and innovation-driven business competitive strategy courses within a short period of time. And so you can see, and by given the assignments, that you should be able to get a master's on this issue. So congratulations, felicitations to this innovation classes, which is a whole semester classes, but swing to like a 2-week sessions. And so again, congratulations to everyone, and thank you for your attention on this presentation.